Hello. Well, today we are going to finish all 9 of the parables that Jesus gave his disciples. All these were given on the day that he was rejected. That is the day that rejection occurred, where the leadership of Israel committed the unpardonable sin, calling Jesus possessed by Beelzebub, and therefore that's where he had the power to do all of the miracles. That was the day he was officially rejected, and Jesus pronounced a judgment for the unpardonable sin on that specific generation. And on this day, he introduces the new facet of the kingdom program, which was going to be the mystery kingdom. And therefore, in the afternoon and as evening came, on that fateful day for Israel, he gave these 9 parables about the mystery kingdom, about the time of the Gentiles and the age of the church. That's not just this here. The next parable, the 8th, so we'll finish the 2 last parables. The first is called the parable of the net. And let me read that to you. Again, the kingdom of heaven, and this is Matthew 13, verses 47 to 50. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net that was cast into the sea and gathered of every kind fish, right? And when it was filled, they drew it up on the beach, and they sat down, the fishermen, and gathered the good into vessels, but the bad they cast away. So shall it be in the end of the world. The angels shall come forth and sever the wicked from among the righteous, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And my grandchildren are upstairs running. Sorry about the thundering in the background. Well, Dr. Fruchtenbaum's explanation of this first, and then we're going to go to Matthew Henry as well. As mentioned in the previous parable, the sea represents the Gentiles. And the point of the net is that the mystery kingdom will end with the judgment of the Gentiles, with the righteous being brought into the messianic kingdom as Jesus returns. Then the judgment of the Gentiles occurs. By the way, when Jesus returns to earth to rescue the remnant of Israel, all of Israel will be saved. They are going to be definitely in the side of the sheep. They're sheeps and goats. At the point of Jesus's return, the remnant of Israel that are living at the end of the tribulation, all of them are saved. Now, the Gentiles, on the other hand, are going to be, this judgment occurs then. And by the way, it's also found in Matthew 25. That's the same judgment. Because Jesus says, whatever you do, the least of these, my brethren, you've done it unto me. Now, when Jesus said that, he meant his brethren, the Jewish people. The reason is that the Gentiles had not even were brought into the kingdom at that point. His brethren are specifically Jews. They are, as well as Christians that are living in the tribulation, they will be persecuted. And people who help the Jews out are going to be the believing people that do help. They will be rewarded for that. There is pro-Semitism and anti-Semitism. If you're against the Jewish people, you are not in a good position, okay? Good or bad or indifferent, they are still the Lord's people, and He's going to deal with them, and they are going to be sifted. They are going to go through that time of Jacob's trouble, the last 7 weeks that you find in the book of Daniel. It's a time of Jacob's trouble, the Jewish people in particular. Okay, well, I don't want to get off the track, but so let's listen to Matthew Henry, because he expands on this, which I like. The Gentile world, he says, and that's what he says it is, the Gentile world is a vast sea. Children of men, right now the mystery kingdom includes believing Jews and Gentiles. So again, this vast sea, children of men, are things, now this sounds a little strange, creeping and innumerable, meaning many multitudes, both small and great in that sea. And we're going to now read a psalm out of Psalm 104:25. It says this, quote, "This great and wide sea, in which are innumerable teeming things, living things, both great and small." That is Psalm 104. "Men in their natural state are like fishes of the sea. They have no ruler over them." And Habakkuk 1:14 says, quote, "Why do you make men like fish of the sea, like creeping things that have no ruler over them?" Okay, and that's where Matthew Henry got those points he just made. So the preaching of the gospel is the casting of the net into the sea to catch something out of it for His glory, for the Lord's glory. And He, the Lord, has sovereignty of the sea. Ministers, preachers, evangelists, all of us are fishers of men, employed in casting and drawing this net. And they speedily, when at Christ's word, at Jesus' word, they let down the net. Otherwise, they labor and catch nothing. This net gathers of every kind, as large drag nets do. In the Christendom, this mystery kingdom, there is a deal of trash and rubbish, dirt and weeds and vermin, as well as fish. There is a time coming when this net will be full and drawn to the shore. There is a set time when the gospel shall have fulfilled that for which it was sent. And we are sure it shall not return empty or void. That's Isaiah 55:10. The net will be drawn to shore when, quote, "the mystery of God shall be finished." This mystery kingdom. Then and there will be a separation between the good and the bad that were gathered in the net. There will be hypocrites, and true Christians shall then be parted. The good shall be gathered into vessels as valuable and therefore carefully kept. But the bad shall be cast away as vile and unprofitable. While the net is in the sea, it is not known what is in it. The fishermen themselves cannot distinguish. but they carefully draw it in, and all that is in it to shore, for the sake of the good that is in it. Well, the explanation of the latter part of the parable we see now as we go forward. It is in the visible church, in Christendom. There are some of every kind. So shall it be in the end of the age, and the end of the world, so to speak. Then and not until then will the dividing and discovering day be. Again, the angels of heaven shall come forth to sever. I don't know about, that's a strong word. Sever the wicked from among the just. They have their commission and instructions, the angels. They get their commission and instructions from him that knows all men, and particularly knows them that are his and them that are not. We can be sure there shall be no mistakes, no blunders either way. The wicked shall be cast into the furnace. Note, Christ himself preached often of hell torments as the everlasting punishment. And it is good for us to be, Matthew Henry says, often reminded of this because it awakens and quickens us. It quickens the truth. The next parable is in Matthew chapter 13, verses 51 to 53. Excuse me. It is the parable of the good householder. And I will read, first of all, from Dr. Fruchtenbaum's explanation. The householder describes those disciples and apostles. They are the householders of the New Testament. For our time, they're scholars, preachers, disciples, teachers in the mystery kingdom who are instructed in the ways of heaven's kingdom realm. It is like a wealthy homeowner with his house filled with treasures, both new and old. The disciples were not to spurn the old treasures, the Old Testament treasures, which are truths that have been established and founded on what God has already revealed. But the new treasures, some aspects of the mystery kingdom, were just now being revealed to the New Testament prophets, apostles and prophets. And that speaks of new insights and understandings that are brand new and never found before. This emphasizes the mystery character of the facet of God's kingdom program. Matthew Henry says, then Jesus asked the disciples, let me read that, sorry. Have you understood all these things? They said unto him, yes. And he said unto the disciples, therefore, every scribe who has been made a disciple to the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is a householder who brings forth out of his treasure things new and old. And it came to pass that when Jesus had finished these parables, he then departs. Okay, well, Jesus asks the disciples, have you understood all these things? Implying that if they had not, he was ready to explain what they did not understand. Note, it is the will of the Lord that all who read and hear the word should understand it. There is no shame in asking good questions of ministers concerning what they have heard. Be encouraged to ask questions and to seek out some answers. The right understanding of one good sermon will very much help us to understand another, because good truths mutually explain and illustrate one another. Christ is ready to encourage willing learners in his school. That is what is meant by "take my yoke upon you." That is a Jewish frame of reference. That means come to school. Jesus is asking us when he says, "Take my yoke upon you." It is about learning. Okay, so they were now learning so that they might teach. And teachers among the Jews were called scribes. So the skillful, faithful ministers of the gospel, one who is well versed in things pertaining to the kingdom of heaven and the gospel, will be able to teach those things. He compares them to a good householder who brings forth out of his treasure things new and old. In 2 Timothy 3:16, it says, quote, "All scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be thoroughly furnished," as in furnishings of the householder, "for every good work," furnished for every good work. That what should be a minister's furniture are treasures of things new and old. Good ministers have need to stock themselves well. Old experiences and maybe older commentators and new observations. You live and you learn. What use should he make of this furniture? Well, he should bring forth to lay it out, to spread it out for the benefit of others. You are not to lay up for yourselves. Christ received that he might give to others. So, that which you've given, much is required. Well, we receive and we give out. That is. And then we will have more. The more you give, the more you get. Now, there's an interesting summary that Dr. Fruchtenbaum makes. And in these 9 parables, you see the movement of the mystery kingdom from start to finish. It's in a type of an order, and he brings that out. The sower is number 1. The sower throughout the mystery kingdom, that begins the kingdom, so to speak. The kingdom age, the gospel seed will be sown. The seed, the second parable, is then that seed is going to grow of itself. So the kingdom will grow and develop on its own by the power of the Holy Spirit of itself. But then there's some complications along the way. There come the weeds and the tares that are sown. Well, the true sowing will be imitated by a false counter sowing that occurs. It's counterfeit sowing. Those are the weeds. And then the next 2 parables are the result of the tares. And as the kingdom grows, that mustard seed becomes a tree. The mystery kingdom will assume that huge outer proportions, and it will have leaven. That's the leaven. That's the 5th parable. It will be marked by inward corruption of doctrine, a mixture. And the next 2 parables are the result of the sower and the seed growing of itself, the good fruit and the good treasure. So that's the hidden treasure parable number 6. Nevertheless, God will gain a remnant from Israel. They're the hidden treasure and the pearl of great price. Jesus will also gain many believers from among the Gentiles. The net, the judgment at the end of the mystery kingdom, will bring the righteous into the messianic kingdom, while the unrighteous will be excluded. And then number 9, the householder. The mystery kingdom has similar facets of the previous 4 kingdom facets, as well as new things. Okay, they're old and new things. Okay, well, we are going to end right here, and we are going to then continue on with Jesus's next movements. And it will involve him getting into the boat and going over to the other side of the Sea of Galilee. And Jesus is going to display his power over nature as he calms the sea. Thank you. Have a great day. God bless you. Sorry about that noise in the background. Take care.